If you love a vampire book, I have got 10 of the juiciest, most delicious recommendations for you to sink your teeth into. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Carly, and today I'm going to be telling you all about my favourite vampire books. I bloody love a vampire book, no pun intended. I feel like they kind of explore hunger, obsession, desire, lust. Oh, I just love them so much. And I am an original Twilight stan. Hashtag don't judge. I feel like I've always been a vampire girly at heart. The books in this video will be a mixture of horror, romantasy, dark romance, literally all the dark, delicious vampire vibes. I do feel like, similarly to the witchy video I posted last week, I've grown up with kind of like vampire lore. Is that what I'm looking for? Lore. Like the nostalgia of the vampires in the 90s and the early noughties. I absolutely loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the film The Lost Boys. Also, does anybody remember the film Blade? Oh my God, the one with Wesley Snipes in. I absolutely bloody loved that film so much. I can't actually remember when that film was out. I'm sure it was when I was a teenager. I'll check the date and I'll let you know. I loved Interview with a Vampire. I know I'm a fraud. I haven't actually read the book, but I loved the film. I studied Dracula when I did my English degree in uni. Honestly, vampires have literally always... I was going to say my love of vampires has always like ran through my veins, but I don't know if I'm overdoing the puns a little bit. I also feel like a lot of vampire books have female rage and female desire in, which I absolutely love. Before we get into the book recommendations, I just want to say a huge thank you for being here. If you are enjoying my content, please don't forget to hit that little subscribe button below. I would absolutely love it if you decided to stick around. And yeah, let's get into these dark, delicious vampire books. First up, we have got On Wings of Blood by Briar Berlin. And this is actually the first in a series and it's available on Kindle Unlimited. I actually want to show you my proof copy of this book because how absolutely stunning is that? Look at the shine and the flop. It is a bit of a chunky book, but honestly, this book and this series is my new obsession. So it is kind of like a dark academia, enemies to lovers, romantasy with half fae, dragon riders and high blood vampires. I mean, literally, say less. It follows the story of Medra Pendragon, our FMC. She is the last of the dragon riders, only there are no actual dragons left. She's been captured by vampires and taken to Bloodwing Academy, where the high blood vampires literally rule everything. And Blightborn folk like her are literally just their next meal. Then we've got Blake Drackharrow. He is our moody MMC. Medra ends up betrothed to Blake. They hate each other. I mean, it's the classic enemies to lovers. They absolutely hate each other's guts. It's slow burn, full of tension, full of blood. And basically, it's all about Medra learning how to survive in an environment where literally everybody around her just sees her as a snack. There are deadly competitions and there's this constant threat of execution by Victor Drackharrow, who is this power-hungry, high-blood vampire and also Blake's uncle. I would say it's kind of a mixture between Fourth Wing, Serpent and the Wings of Night, Hunger Games, and it's got a sprinkling of Mean Girls vibes in there as well. Honestly, I bloody loved it. I actually loved this book so much that I went straight into book 2, which is called The Bond That Burns. I think that's what it's called. And absolutely devoured that as well. And book 3 isn't actually being released until March, so you best believe I have shamelessly gone on the beg. I messaged the publisher and I've asked them if any early proof copies become available of book 3, please could I be considered, because the thought of waiting until March is making me want to throw myself into Dragonfire. I literally said that in the message. I'll show you the message I sent them. I need to know what happens. That ending of book 2, like, it left me feeling unwell. This is my new favourite vampire romantasy obsession, and I highly recommend. Next up, we have got Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, and this book is a sapphic reworking of Carmilla, which is the book that inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. It follows the story of Lenore. She has been married for 10 years. The marriage has turned sour. They don't get on at all. And a trip to the Peak District ends up in a carriage accident, which brings Carmilla into Lenore's life. Lenore is from a world where ladies must act prim and proper, and Carmilla represents everything that she has been told not to be. I actually did this book on audio, and the narration was absolutely fantastic. I was hooked immediately. Like, as soon as I pressed play on this audiobook, I was in this world with Carmilla and Lenore, and I was completely obsessed. This book is dark, it's delicious, it's dripping with desire and hunger. To be honest, if it's got a gothic setting and it's got female vampires, it is an immediate yes from me, and I cannot recommend this book enough. I absolutely loved it. Next up, we have got The Serpent's Bride by Catherine Ann Kingsley. And this is actually a recent release and I think it's been marketed as a dark romance, but I'm not entirely sure that it's been marketed right. I don't really feel like there were major dark romance elements to it. So if you are a dark romance reader, then this may be a little bit tame for you. And if dark romance isn't your thing, but vampires are, then this one will be for you. It's actually been described as being like Serpent and the Wings of Night meets Haunting Adeline. I don't know, I didn't get Haunting Adeline vibes from it at all. And to be honest, the kind of like spicy, smutty scenes didn't come until right at the end of the book. Whereas Haunting Adeline, I feel like that is just the whole book, isn't it? In this book, we follow the story of Nadie. She is determined to avenge the murder of her family, and she shapeshifts herself to look like the bride that Raziel, this vampire that murdered her family, is supposed to be marrying. Nadie shapeshifts herself into this new bride so that she can get close enough to Raziel and his family and wipe them all out, basically. But of course, Raziel is a sexy vampire mafia prince, and Nadie's own feelings start betraying her. This is very slow burn and full of tension, and I absolutely loved the vampire, fae, human dynamic. I don't think I've read a book yet with those three elements in, and in this book, I think it was done so well. And when I tell you the ending of this book, I literally said it about the second book in the Bloodwing Academy series. The ending of this was, oh my God, the cliffhanger. I was so shocked. So I was actually sent an early copy of this book by the publisher. I think it has actually been released now. So when I read it, I was like, this book hasn't even been released yet, and already I immediately need book 2. Like, the ending was absolutely outstanding. It was so unexpected. And yeah, I cannot wait to read book 2. Next up, we have got A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Carly, this is a witchy book. Actually, this is a book about witches and vampires. And full disclaimer, even though I only gave this book 3 stars, I have put it in this video because I think the vampire element was done really well. And the reason I gave it 3 stars was probably a bit petty. I just feel like it was a bit long. I did it on audio, and the audiobook was 24 hours long. I mean, is it really that serious? Does it really need to be that long? But the ratings and the hype for this book are incredible. So it's probably just me being ridiculous. So this has been marketed as being like Twilight for grown-ups, and it follows our 2 main characters, Diana and Matthew, and they are searching for the answers to this secret manuscript that Diana, who is a witch, and Matthew, who is a vampire, have discovered. And whilst they're searching for these answers, of course, they're being hunted by demons. So we've got witches, vampires, and demons in this book, and I actually really liked the dynamic of that. It has got slow burn forbidden romance, it has got danger, it's got high stakes, and overall I did really enjoy it. Just go into it prepared because these books are long. There's 3 of them in the series, and they're all pretty much the same length. Next up, we have got Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, and this one is actually available on Kindle Unlimited. And this book actually started, or not started, but reignited my vampire obsession when I read it last November. This is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and it kind of gave me Hunger Games mixed with Twilight, mixed with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire vibes. So if you love those vibes, then you absolutely need to read this book. I don't actually know if this is a romantasy or just a fantasy, because it has got a romance element, but I'm not sure if it's like the main element, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's romantasy or just fantasy, but it follows the story of our main character, Araya. She is human, but she is the adopted daughter of a vampire king. Araya's only chance at becoming something other than a meal is to enter this tournament called the Kajari, which is held by the goddess of death herself. And this is where the Hunger Games vibes kind of come in. It's like a deadly tournament, and Araya, who is a human, is up against vampires. She is up against these vicious vampire warriors, and her only chance at surviving this tournament is to form an alliance with one of them. I mean, she's literally like a lamb amongst a pack of wolves. Araya forms an alliance with Rain, a male vampire who is not only dangerous in the sense because he's a vampire, but he is also an enemy of her father, the Vampire King. Again, we have got this slow burn tension, and oh my God, I absolutely love this book. I was completely obsessed. This is another one that has got high stakes. It's full of danger. It's got secrets and lies and betrayal. It has got a massive twist at the end. Honestly, when I read this book last November, it literally became my entire personality. And I just wanted to read every single vampire book ever written. Next up, we have got House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. And this is mouth-watering gothic deliciousness. This is by the same author that wrote The Year of Witching, and it is under 300 pages, so it's a fairly short read. It follows the story of our main character, Marion. She has grown up in the slums, and with no other prospects, she answers this advertisement in the newspaper, which is advertising a job for a blood maid. She applies for this position knowing absolutely nothing about what it entails, and a few days later she ends up at this notorious House of Hunger, which is a world of dark debauchery, desire, obsession, and hunger, obviously. At the centre of all this debauchery, we have Countess Elizabeth. She takes a special interest in Marion, which initially Marion laps up. Again, no pun intended. But Marion soon realises the dangerous situation she is in when some of the other blood maids start going missing. Do you know what? The first half of this book, I would say, is quite slow burn. It builds the tension, keeps you interested. I'm not saying it was boring, just slow burn. And then the second half of this book, oh my God, my heart was in my mouth while I was reading it. I think Countess Elizabeth is actually based on the historical figure of Elizabeth Bathory, who I don't know a whole lot about Elizabeth Bathory, but I believe she was like this really notorious female serial killer. I don't know what century. I'm going to look it up and I'll post it on the screen, but I think she used to bathe in the blood of her victims and stuff to kind of try and stay youthful. I don't know, something like that. I may just be lying through my teeth and making all of that up, but I vaguely remember something along those lines. This is one of my favourite sapphic gothic horror novels, and I absolutely devoured it. Are you sick of all these vampire puns yet? Right, next up we have got So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. And I am so confused by the 3.8 star rating for this book on Amazon. Like, did I read the same book? Do you know what as well? I'm going to call myself out because I've actually got a funny story to tell you about this book. So I had an early copy of it, a digital copy. So in my defense, it was a digital copy through NetGalley. If you don't know what NetGalley is, anybody can request early advanced copies of books through NetGalley, and then the publisher can send you a digital copy so that you can read it before it's released. So yeah, I got sent this early copy on my Kindle and I went into it completely blind. I didn't have a clue what it was about. And I know, do you know what? Looking back, it's so bloody obvious what it's about. But me and Michaela were reading it at the same time. And I can remember voice noting her going, "Oh my God, it's about vampires." And she was like, "Well, yeah, what did you think it's about?" And do you know what? When you look at the cover, the title of the book is So Thirsty. It's got a cup of blood on the cover, and it literally says on the front in the red writing, a vampire novel. So yeah, that's my funny story. It still makes me laugh to this day that I went into it so blind that I didn't even know it was about vampires. In this book, we follow our main character called Sloane. She is absolutely dreading her birthday. She's dreading turning another year older, and she ends up on a surprise weekend away with her best friend to celebrate her birthday. Her best friend, Naomi, is completely the opposite to Sloane. She wants to liven things up a little bit. And to cut a long story short, they both end up at this house party with complete strangers that are very mysterious. After this house party with these mysterious strangers, Naomi and Sloane's lives literally change forever. And I'm not going to say too much more on this book, to be honest, because I actually do recommend you go into it blind. Maybe not as blind as I did, but I had the best time while I was reading this book. It was so much fun. It is a modern day feminist vampire horror novel. It has got the perfect amount of girlhood, humour, gore, and blood. The characters were relatable. I found it empowering. And to be honest, I was just completely obsessed the whole time I was reading it. You know, when you're just so into a book that you want to race through it because you want to find out what's going to happen at the end, but you also don't want to read it too fast because you don't want it to end. That's the feeling I had when I read this book. Next up, we have got From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is another one. I don't know if it's actually a romantasy or a fantasy, because again, it has got the romance plot to it, but I don't think that is the main plot. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they work out whether a book is just fantasy or romance or fantasy with romance in it. This is book 1 in a series. I think there's 6 books in the series. I've only actually read the first 2, but I highly recommend both of them, actually. I really enjoyed them. I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to explain very well what this book is about, because there was so much world building, especially in book 1, and so much happened that yeah, my tiny brain may not be able to get it across very well. But we basically follow the story of Poppy. She is a maiden who is never to be looked at, never to be spoken to. She keeps her face covered. She must remain pure. And the entire kingdom's future literally rests on her shoulders. She longs for a better life for herself and for a man that she's literally met just once. I absolutely loved our main 2 characters, Poppy and Hawk. This is another one that's got slow burn tension throughout the whole book. It's got forbidden romance as well. I feel like there's a bit of a theme going on with some of these books I'm recommending. And I nearly lost my goddamn mind when I realised there were vampires in this book. It was just pure escapism. Both books, book 1 and book 2, just pure escapism. I had the best time while I was reading both of them. And oh my God, the twist. The twist at the end of this book. I highly recommend this one if kind of like fantasy, romance, romantasy, vampires are your vibe. Next up, we have got A Gift of Death by Daniel J. Volper. I'm not entirely sure how you say his surname. Full disclaimer, I think this is classed as an extreme horror. So please go into this book with caution, because I wasn't expecting it to be as extreme as it was when I went into it. And I had a bit of a shock. I mean, how stunning is this book? I bloody love a pink horror book. And it is literally, it says at the bottom, A Gift of Death combines heavy metal, revenge, and bloodshed galore. It is literally unhinged heavy metal band, vampires, and gore. I mean, it basically does what it says on the tin. So we've got a band that are on tour. One of them is human and 2 of them are vampires. This is just absolute carnage. It's got a boy in it called Cameron who is trying to track down the band because he wants them to turn him into a vampire. Honestly, if you can get past the extreme, the extreme gore, and it is full of schmacks as well. I got to be careful what I'm saying on this channel. I don't want to get myself banned, but yeah, it's full of that. So it is it's not going to be for everyone. Let's just say that. But I actually really enjoyed it. Sometimes I just love an extreme horror book to shock me. I love it when a book just reminds me that I'm not completely dead inside. So yeah, if you love vampires and you love a bit of gore, then definitely give this one a go. And last but not least, I have saved my absolute favourite vampire book to last, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And I know I'm like a stuck record, but this book is phenomenal. I know you're probably all sick of me going on about this book, but to be honest, I'm not even going to apologise for it because I will literally be shouting from the rooftops about this book until the day I die. In this book, we have got 3 separate storylines, 3 different timelines, and 3 different characters. And I absolutely loved every single one of them. I loved the whole book. And you know what? I am actually not going to say too much about the plot because in my opinion, I think you should just go into it blind. All you need to know is that it's about toxic lesbian vampires. It's about female rage, feral females, revenge, desire, obsession, literally all the delicious things that I love in my vampire books. I read this book back in April and it has consumed me ever since. It is an absolute masterpiece. I have nothing bad to say about it. I know that it's quite long, but in my opinion, I could have read it if it was twice as long. I didn't want it to end. It was everything I didn't know I needed in a book and more. The amount of quotes in this book that just resonated with me on a personal level. This was another one that I couldn't devour. Wink, wink. The page is quick enough, but I also didn't want it to end. Like, I am actually going to reread it. I never reread books, but I feel like I need to reread it just so I can relive it all over again. It is not just my favourite vampire book, but it is one of my favourite books of all time. A bold statement, I know. And at the moment, it is between this and one other book for my favourite book of the entire year. So if you're not sold on that, then I have literally got nothing more to say. I think that is actually 10. Is it 10 vampire books? I think that's 10. But I just want to give a quick mention to Carmilla as well by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. I think that's how you say it, which was the book that inspired Hungerstone and the book that inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. It is a very short novella. I think it's only around 80 pages. It didn't take me very long to read. It was written in the 1800s. And honestly, when you read the book and take note of the time that it was written, it is so good. Like, as I was reading it, I couldn't actually believe that it was written. I mean, it was written like 150 years ago. Isn't that wild? But yeah, again, because the book is so short, I mean, Camilla is a classic, isn't it? It's a classic story. I think most of you will know what it's about. So there's no point me really going into the plot. But yeah, I couldn't leave Carmilla out of a video about vampire books, could I? So yeah, that brings me to the end of my favourite vampire books. I really hope you enjoyed watching. Please let me know in the comments if you have got any vampire book recommendations for me. I do have a very extensive vampire TBR mind, so I am definitely going to film a vampire TBR video because I've got more on my TBR than I've actually read, which I know is shameful. But there's just not enough hours in the day, is there? So yeah, I'm going to film the vampire TBR video. I'm going to get that up well in time for spooky season because I feel like, oh God, we are just entering the perfect time for spooky books, vampire books, witchy books. And this is my time to shine. This is where my heart truly lies. I absolutely love these books. If you did enjoy watching, please don't forget to hit that little subscribe button. Honestly, it means so much to me and I would absolutely love it if you decided to stick around and follow me on this crazy booktube journey. So yeah, I will leave you to sink your teeth into these delicious vampire books and I'll catch you all next time.